Hello lovely subscribers, how are you? I hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful hot summer's day here and this is summer, and I wanted to give you a free gift. There you'll get the PDF and also a video showing you how to do her skin and eventually her hair. I'm going to start off with her. The first video will be her skin, her eye, nose and lips, and then the second video will be the hair. I just want to show you what you're getting in your free PDF of summer. Let me just get it back into order. So this is your front cover, so it's an A4 PDF, and you'll have your front cover showing you summer, and then there's my social media contacts and just a little bit about the copyright, and then you will get an A5 size with the pale outline and also two A6s. I hope you can see that okay. And you'll also get a large A4 size in the pale outline, and I just want to show you one that I did that I coloured. So there, that's her in A4, and of course you can create whatever body you like yourself. You can give her a full hair, or you can do her hair the way that I do with a little loose ponytail. So you also get it in the black outline in case you prefer the black. So that's the full A4 size. I've got it all mixed up, sorry, but you're also getting your two A6 sizes, but with the face going the opposite direction. So that's also in the pale outline, and you get the same in the black outline. I just had them all mixed up there. So there's your black with the two faces facing the opposite direction, and also your black A5 with the two A6s. And not to forget that once you've downloaded it at home, you can print it off not as often as you like. So if you want to practice your colouring, this is the A5 size that I'm doing in the video, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll be using a blending stump and some cotton buds and some Faber-Castell pencils, and I'll give you full colours as I go through the video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll look forward to seeing any pictures in the group. If you do happen to have a colouring session, please share it in my drawing and creating with a dash of D. Okay, let's get started. But I want to show you how to colour her skin and her eyes and perhaps her hair. I'd maybe do her hair in a separate video because it does take quite a while to do it all. So I'm also going to be using an HB pencil. This is just a basic HB Faber-Castell pencil, and some different sized stumps and some little cotton buds. And I'll tell you the colours of the pencils as I go through. I use Faber-Castell Polychromos. So let's get started. So hopefully you can see that okay. I know that it is pale on the camera when you first put it down. So I'm going to start with my HB pencil and draw in her eye. So you've got a space here so that you can have different pupils inside your eyes. For those who want to practice a little bit with the drawing, maybe not feeling 100% confident but want to give it a go. So I'm just going to draw a circle. Now I like to have a little bit of white in the eye here, so it's not, the pupil isn't going all the way down to the bottom. I'm sorry if you could hear that airplane going over. It's really warm here today, so I do have my windows open. So there, we've drawn a little bit of a circle in there, and then I'm just going to use my HB pencil to go over this line that's already there, that pale line. So it's good if you are just starting out with your drawing if you want to have lines that you can just mimic and go over the top of. But it also helps build up the eye to look more realistic when you've got the pale outline and not the black. So I'm now going to use a little blending stamp. This is just a little small, it says it's got #2 on it. I'm going to go over the top of that lead that I've just done, and by doing that you start to smudge and you pick up a little bit of the lead, and then you can use it to create shades and shadows. So I'm just going to put one here to create the bag under her eye, and then I'm just smudging it a little bit and bringing some of that lead into the white of her eye, because there's going to be a bit of a shadow here if you imagine the lid coming over the eye a little bit. And then again a little bit here inside the eye, because the eye isn't completely white. And you do, if you have a look, you will see shades and shadows in there to help make it look three-dimensional. So I'm just going to put a little bit of lead as well over this eyelid. So just if you have your pencil nice and sharp, and then again start to smudge that. So just by going over the top of it, you can start to bring a little bit of lead out, and then it starts to create that crease on your eyelid. And if you start off like not heavy-handed and just use a little bit of the lead and then gradually bring it out, you can slowly build it up so it's not too much too soon. And I'm also going to put a line down the side of her head here and along the top, because I want to create a shadow that's coming in underneath her hair. Hopefully you can see that starting to appear on the page. Now I'm going to bring a little bit of this down the side of her cheek, just gradually. So if you put your stump where the lead is and then drag it down softly, then it's more of a subtle sort of change. And it's quite hard to tell you how much and how much to do your shading. It's something that kind of comes with time and something that you get a feel for when you're doing it. So don't beat yourself up if this is your first time doing it as well. It's just a little bit of practice. So hopefully you're starting to see a little bit of the lead come onto the paper. Now I should have mentioned what paper I'm using, shouldn't I? So the paper that I'm using, that I've put through my printer, is this Artistico, Artistico I should say. It's extra white, it's 100% cotton, and it's hot pressed, so you can use different like paints and products on there that what's the word? So you can use your paints and your markers, and you can bring water and things onto the card, and it doesn't affect the paper. It's able to hold different mixed media. That's what I'm trying to say. So 300 GSM, and it goes really nicely through my printer. So it's more of a sort of, it's just a nice, I just fallen in love with it actually. And I'm enjoying drawing on top. So, but you can use anything that goes through your printer, but I would try and have it quite the higher the GSM the better, and the smoother the paper the nicer the finish, if that makes sense. Right, so I'm going to now put in a little bit of a pupil in her eye. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to try and make this circle similar to the circle that's already there, trying to keep it the same sort of width. So that's okay. And then I'm going to start bringing in some colour from my Faber-Castell. So I'm going to use another very small, it's a burnt ochre, and I'm going to put that down as my base colour inside the eye. So just light circular motions, and then you can build up lots of different colours and layers on top of that if you keep it nice and light. So just doing a little bit all the way around. But I'm going to leave a little bit of white at the bottom just to help create a little bit of a shine down there. And then I'm going to use my burnt sienna to highlight the outside line to make it darker, and I'm also going to layer the darker colour up closest to the lid to emphasise that there's a shadow there, and the same at the other side. And then I'm also going to bring some of the first colour that I used, the burnt ochre, up into the pupil. So I'm going to just have a little bit of a lighter colour there to help make her eye look a bit more marbly. And then just build up another layer. Each time you go over it, you just make it a little bit darker. So it's just, that's what layering it up. So rather than pressing down hard and trying to be too quick at putting down your colours, you just layer them up nice and gently, then they go nicer together. Now if you have a little cotton bud or a blending stump, then you can use it to blend those colours together. It just softens it, pushes the colour into the paper, and just makes it look a little bit more softer and just slicker, I suppose is the word. Then I'm just adding another layer of the burnt ochre. Up near the top, keeping it at its darkest up there. And then I'm going to go back to my little burnt ochre and then just create some little squiggles, just to add a little bit of character into the iris. again, darken it up in that bit of the pupil. And then with my black, I'm going to emphasise this line that we first off put the lead on. And when you found that line and you're quite confident there, you can press down hard and burnish that. And then start to bring some of the black into the pupil. So just keep it light initially, again the little circular motions, and then you can start to create some little sparkles in there. So there's one starting to appear there, and if we try and get another one to appear maybe over here somewhere, yeah, we'll have that one. And then just keep going over it with little layers, and then take the black over as well into the iris, just to emphasise that little bit of a shadow again. Both sides. And then start to press down hard to make it shiny. So yeah, burnishing it, pressing all the colour together. And then follow over into the rest of the eye. And then that really emphasises where the eye is, and so I just need to keep pressing down hard until I'm happy with how black that is. And so I'm going to also bring in a little bit of the burnt ochre up into the eye, the pupil as well. I'm going over it into the black, pressing hard. And then back to the ochre and pressing hard with it as well. And then back to the black, and then come into that just so that it doesn't look so forced. Right, so I'm going to bring in some white and put a little bit of white into the eye, and then emphasise some more of the shadowed bits. You can put some of the white into this shiny bit as well. And then going back to my HB pencil, then I'm just going to emphasise the corner of her eye, just there, and then again down here, and then just try to softly add a little bit more shadow in there. So just softly laying down a little bit more lead right next to that really black line, just around this outside part of her eye. And then you can either use a cotton bud or a blending stump just to soften it and drag it around a little bit, just to spread it out. Right, now I'm just going to darken up this little bit here at the top of her lid. Just try and emphasise that little bit of a crease that's there. And then with my blend and stump, get that, spread it around the outside of the lid. And then I'm going to use a beige red Faber-Castell and start to add a little bit of that pinky tone onto the lid at both sides, but leave a little bit in the centre that's going to be quite white, just to give it a little bit of a shine. Now I want a little bit more of a shadow going on under her eye, so I'm just gradually and slowly going to put down a little bit more lead. And if you put it in more at the point where the line is, then you can drag it out so that you're softly bringing it down rather than having it start. If you were to put your line down here and start to try and blend it up, then it wouldn't look as polished or finished. I'm slowly starting to get that wee bag to appear. Bring it down. Just darkening it up another little bit. Just there. Now I want it to be quite dark up here. I want there to be a real shadow that's coming down from her hair. So I'm just going to keep adding more lead around this area and maybe gradually bring a little bit of the lead down from there. So having it really dark at the very line. And then, excuse me, and then it gradually get lighter as it comes down, and the same at the side here, and then back to the blend and stump. And then try to bring some of that down onto her cheek. And start to try and bring some of this into where her nose is going to be as well. Right, so with my beige red, I'm just going to emphasise her nose. So I'm just going to draw a little curve around about there, and then do the same at the other side. And then with my lead pencil, I'm going to emphasise the nostril, so that's going to be darker in there. And then the same here. And then maybe a little bit coming up around the side of her nose. And then with the blending stump, I'm going to blend that. I want it to be shadowed underneath the nostril, but also have some coming up the side of the nose, so that we can start to make it look three-dimensional. So picking up that lead and then bring it along so that you've got the bottom of your nose starting to form just with a shadow. And then just trying to bring some of that lead up and around. So if you can gradually bring it over most of the nose to a point in the centre where you can make a little white circle, and just keep adding. If it runs out, just keep adding a little bit more lead in here. And you can still just, with your pencil, if you keep it light, just create a little bit of lead there that you can spread across. If you keep it close to the line, close to the outside, then you've got more control. And then you can soften it and drag it around. I'm slowly starting to get to a point where I can start to make a little bit of a circle in the centre. Just keep going over it and moving the lead around. A little bit more lead. Hopefully you're getting the gist now. Just a little bit more lead each time and then bringing the blending stump in. And I want this shadow to come down under the nose, so it looks like the nose is coming out from somewhere. And I'm also going to use the lead to try and create that little part there between the nose and the lips. Just some little brackets, we'll call it. Right, now I'm going to bring in some of my beige red now. So I'm going to, if we start right in the corner and sit it on top of the lead, and then gradually bring it out to that point where we started to make the little white circle. And if you have a cotton pad, not a pad but a bud, I dare say you could still use a little cotton pad if you didn't have a bud, if you just made it quite small, if you rolled up a little bit. So just softening that pink and blending it into the lead and just trying to find that little white area. I'm going to use a little bit of cinnamon now, just to darken it up a little bit more. Just going around the outside. And then soften that with a little bud. Right, I'm going to come back and do a little bit more around the eye. So I want a little bit more lead, just to build up the illusion of there being a bit of a shadow going on in here. And then use my blending stump to drag that out and soften it. You want it to be at its darkest right in at the line, and then for it to just gradually fade out. So I want a wee bit more of a shadow coming down onto her cheek here. Just trying to pick up somewhere that's darker and then drag it down. Just going to use a cotton bud just to soften that. The cotton bud is good for picking up, so if you feel you put a little bit too much lead down, it does pick it up a little bit, and so, but you really want to try and keep it light. It's easier to blend it in rather than try to take it away. So I'm going to now bring in my beige red and start to lay that down on top of the lid there, and then start to build up this area around her eye and coming down to where the bag is, and do her cheek. Coming down towards her nose. Then we'll soften that in a minute. And then same around the top end of her face. And then slowly bring that down onto her cheek. Just light circular motions. I'll leave a little bit of white in there just to help with the illusion of the face being round. And then get my cotton bud and then soften that. When you do this, it just softens it and pushes it more into the paper and just makes it look really smooth, instead of having little white spaces. Just blends it all together. Right, I'm going to do a little bit of her lips now. I'll come back and do more of her face. So I'm going to do little hooks that go that each direction. They're going to go that way for that side, and then they're going to go that way for that side. So this helps to make them look plump and three-dimensional. And then if you just do your little circular motions over the top of those lines, but leave a little area where it's white so that you've got sparkles that can start to show, so it looks like she's got shiny lips. Now with the original girl, if I just bring her in, I had her lips parted, so you can do that by just adding a little bit of grey and black, eventually black in there. But with this one I want to show you how you can adapt her lips so that, if I just bring her in, see how you can make her look different and have her lips closed. So just to give you a little bit more choice in how you build up your girl. Oh, I'm on the wrong one now. So with your lead pencil, you can then just go along this line that's already there, but go straight through. And then just ignore that little bit that's there, and you can use your pencil to hide it. So if I bring in like a coral now, and then have the lines coming down from the bottom in the same direction as the ones that are going up, if that makes sense. And so when you're doing these little lines, eventually you start to get little white areas appear, and that's where you can have your little sparkly shine to make her lips look like they've got a bit of a glisten. And so just having it at its darkest at the very bottom, and then having it dark again between the parting, so both top and bottom of where the lips part, or lips are closed. And then I'm just going to use a little cotton bud again, just to soften that and push the colours together. And then just keep building it up. So just adding more colour, so alternating between the light circular motions and the lines while you build it up. See, now you can't see that little bit that where you could have possibly had it looking like it was parted. So I think you'd enjoy doing this if both if you were a confident person at colouring and shading and getting your faces the way you want them to look, or somebody who was just starting out and needed some lines to guide them. But I don't ever do my faces completely realistic. I like them to not be 100% realistic. I like them to look more doll-like. With the big eyes. And I like the big eyes because that's where I can put the emotion. So for me it's a good expression tool. Self-expression. So if I just use my lead pencil underneath the lip, then that again makes it look like the lips slightly protruding from the face. And then using the blending stump again to drag that down, and then what I do is I try to create a little circle there on the chin like a ball. And then there'll be obviously a shadow going on underneath the chin, so you could start to maybe build up a shadow in under there. So I'm just going to now build up a little bit more layers on her skin. So again with the beige red, I'm going up over the lead. I'm emphasising the bag. And then having a little bit that's white. And then bringing a little bit of colour in onto where that ball is. And under her lip just having a little bit of colour. And then coming up around her lip, so you kind of want there to be a little bit of a white area in there. So if I just get my white pencil and then just around the outside line, I'm just going to mark down some white. Now you can't really see it, but if you press down hard and burnish it, then it'll be hard for anything else to really sit on top of it as much. So you put that down and that kind of leaves that area. I'm just also going to put a little bit of white right here in the centre, just to brighten that up a little bit. And then you can start to add your skin tone just softly around the lip. A little bit inside that little bit. And again, doing the softening. So hopefully you're starting to see where you feel like you need to darken it a little bit more. So I'm going to start back in here and darken this area coming in towards the nose. And take that right up into the shadowed area, which I'm going to make even darker. So if you just kind of bring it to where you think the centre of the nose would be, where it would be like a white, it would be more of a white line going right up there, just to make it look like there's a shine on the nose. So if you just bring your pale skin tone in as far as you think that is. And again softening it and pushing all the colours together. And then I'm going to use a little bit of ivory. So in this area here, so I'm going to start on top of the pale the beige red, and then come over to the other side and go over into that as well, so that it looks more cohesive, but you've got this little area that's going to be a little bit lighter. Probably all the way down this sort of side part of her face. And then I'm going to use a darker colour on her cheek, and I'm going to use the coral, and then start to gradually build this up a bit darker. And then back to the cotton bud. Just blend it together. Are you getting a feel for it now? I think the cotton bud is the thing that helps it to look smoother and more finished. So again, getting a little bit darker up here as well. I'm going to add a little bit more of a pink in here on her eyelid. Just darken that up a little bit. Same at this side. Might bring a little bit round the corner. And then trying to darken this area here. Slowly coming together. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the coral down here on the nose. I'm going to use my black to really darken up that nostril now, and maybe just faintly do the bottom bit of the nose, and then I'm going to come back with my normal HB pencil and start to just add a little bit more of shadow going on in here. So I tend to use the blend and stump more for the lead pencil, and then the little cotton bud more for on the Faber-Castells, just to soften them and blend it into the paper, make it look smoother. I'm going to use a little bit of white just in this bag bit, just to keep it looking white and to make it look more finished, because it's got pencil in all of the areas. And then with my lead pencil as well, I'm going to like just emphasise in here again, so a little bit really dark in there at the corner, and then keep it that it's quite light coming along the bottom, and then it's really dark in here. And again, you can just keep going in and adding a little bit more shadow where you think it needs it, coming over this part. I'm just going to darken up round her eye as well. So every now and again it's just a case of going in and darkening up where you've already been. Maybe do some squiggles with this one as well. So I'm assuming that you can just finish off on your own just by adding up more and more layers, just darkening up certain areas. So if we just put a little line in there. So everything needs more and more layers. I might put some red into her lip, just using the lines. And on the next video I will do her hair. Now you can either do her hair like that one, just by following the line and just colouring in all of that area, or you can do her with different hairstyle, perhaps like that one. So I will do that one actually. That's the hairstyle I'll do for the next video. I'm going to just bring a little bit of red up into her nose. If I've put a little bit of red in her lips, I like to put that through the artwork in other ways. So even if it's just a little splash of red somewhere else. And maybe a little bit of red in the corner of her eye there, maybe. And a little bit of red in her cheek maybe as well. Just gradual. Okay, so hopefully that's given you enough to colour. You can of course colour her however you like. If you want to do it with markers on a different paper, or paints, or you've got your own colouring style, you know. But if you do make anything with this, if you are one of my subscribers and you're getting this for free, or if you want to purchase it from my website, then please do share in my group. I'm drawing and creating with a dash of D, because I do love to see what everybody's done. So I've just gone in now and just darkened up that little area with the eyes, just burnishing that a little bit. So yeah, it just needs a little bit darker perhaps in this area, and just keep building up in the skin. And then of course you cut it down the side, and then you've got your half face girl like so. And then if you'd enjoy doing that, you've still got loads of others to do in different sizes. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you're one of my subscribers, thank you for being a subscriber, and I hope you like getting this as your free summer gift. Bye everybody. See you soon. Bye.